February 3rd, 2016. We are at the workplace of Emily Walsh on Route 9 in Marlboro. My name is Zanaba McNeese. Today's production crew is on video camera, Soren Whitehouse, on still camera, Logan McKay, and on video is Cyrus Bird. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your background. For how many years have you lived in Marlboro?
It's a little bit tricky. Let's see. I first moved here in 2002, I think. And then we moved, and we came back, and we moved, and we came back. And then we officially have been here for 7 years. Yeah, the last time.
Where were you born?
Where was I born? Hartford, Connecticut.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in many towns in Connecticut. Nothing specific.
Where did you go to school when you were young?
Because we moved so much, my dad was a builder and we always moved into his spec houses. So I went to many elementary schools until, I guess, 6th grade. I started going to a private school. So in West Hartford, and then high school, I was there for 4 years in the same school.
Did you travel much as a child?
Not really. We went to Florida a lot, and I had been to the Caribbean, but that was about it.
Where did you travel to?
Other than those places I just said.
That's what it says.
And well, we would go. My parents were sailors, so we went to places where we could sail.
How would you describe yourself as a child?
I was very shy, awkward. Let's see. And because I moved a lot, my family, my cousins were my closest friends.
What did you do between finishing high school and going to college?
I worked on Block Island, which is in Rhode Island, it's a little island off of Rhode Island, and I was a waitress out there for that summer, and then I moved, then I went to school, and I went to college.
May I ask how old you are?
Yes, I'm 39, you can ask.
How many brothers or sisters do you have, and what are their names?
I have one older brother who's 5 years older, and his name is John.
Where does he live?
He lives in Connecticut still.
What are your parents' names, and what were their careers?
My dad's name is also John, and my mom's name is Barbara. And when I was younger, my dad built houses, and then he had many other jobs. And now he teaches safe boating to people who want to drive boats. And my mom, she was a stay-home mom for a long time, and now she works as a, I don't even really know her title, it's terrible. She organizes big conferences. That's what she does.
What is your husband's name?
My husband's name is Aaron Walsh.
What is your husband's job?
He right now is a carpenter and a snowboard coach.
Where does he work?
He works for Mathis Hume Builders, which are a local Marlboro family. And he works at Mount Snow.
What is your street address in Marlboro?
We live on 1001 Cowpath 40.
Would you talk briefly about the history of the house you live in and explain why you and your husband Aaron decided to move to town?
Sure. The house, I believe, was built in 1983 by my husband's parents, Jane and Dutch Walsh. They found the land and built it in the 80s. And we moved into the house in 2009, I believe, back into it. We've lived in it a lot, but it's when we officially moved back because it was empty. His mom had moved to Connecticut. And it's a post and beam house, and it's small, and we love it. And we decided to move back there mostly because we wanted our kids to go to Marlboro, and they love it there.
Your children are currently students at the Marlboro School. What are their names?
My oldest is Broden. She's in the junior high, 7th grade. Wayland is in the 5th grade. And Honora is in this classroom. It's the 1st, 2nd grade.
Who are their teachers and what grades are they in person?
So the primary teacher is Judy, and 5th, 6th teacher is Pam. And in the junior high, it's Rachel and Tim.
What college or university did you attend?
I went to Syracuse University for a short time, and then I went to Yukon University for a short time, and then I ended up at the University of Vermont.
What was your plan of studying there?
I went into school for social work, and then when I moved up to Burlington, I started, my major was art education.
Where did you go to graduate school, and what was your concentration of studying there?
I went to Antioch in Keene, and I got a Waldorf certificate, teaching certificate.
Would you summarize briefly some of the important elements of the Waldorf approach to education?
So you already knew. Let's see. My favorite aspect, I did early childhood, and my favorite piece of it was really looking at the whole child, they call it, and which means you don't just, you get the personality of the child, you get their birth story, you really observe how they interact with their environment, and you bring to them teaching qualities that are really artistic and really speak to everything that a young child would need. And I really loved that. I loved how intentional your teaching had to be. And there was many aspects of the Waldorf education that fit in with my parenting, so that's why I studied it.
During your working life, what jobs have you had aside from teaching?
Aside from teaching? I've done a lot of service work, like waitressing, things like that. And I have, I guess this kind of qualifies for teaching, but my last position was at Wyndham Child Care, and I got to drive the bookmobile, which is a mobile library, and I read books to children all over Wyndham County, and it's kind of like teaching, so it fits in there. And I've always kind of been in education my whole life.
How many years did you take to become a certified teacher?
Well, in my undergraduate, I I took 4 years to get my art education license. And it took a year and a half to get my Walsh certificate. And now I'm working towards adding a elementary teaching endorsement. So I haven't quite completed that, so I can't say.
What made you want to work as a teacher when you began?
I guess I was always drawn to, I did a lot of babysitting when I was younger, and I don't know, I loved being in the classroom. I loved teaching art. And then when I started having children, I loved being with the young child. So I guess I've just always been in awe on how child development works and being part of that.
Why have you continued to work as a teacher?
Because I love it. A real answer. I don't know. It fulfills something in me when I can see a student figure something out that they've been working on. It's really awesome to discover something with children. I love it when they teach me something. I just really like spending time in that kind of environment where growth is happening.
Where else have you taught?
Where else have I taught? I did most of my teaching at the Green Valley School, which was a Waldorf initiative. It was an outdoor program, so it was really fun to be outside. We were outside probably 4 out of the 6 hours that we were there. Other schools, I taught art at Leland and Gray, which is a high school in Townsend. And I taught art here my first year, actually. And where else? I was a one-on-one para up in Essex, Vermont, in a 3rd grade. And yeah, I think that covers other schools.
For how many years did you teach there? Around.
Well, I taught art at Leland and Gray for 2.5 years. I taught art here for just a year, and 9 years at the Green Valley School.
Spend time. What did you teach there?
Oh, and I also worked at the Santa Fe Waldorf School. We lived in Santa Fe for a while, and that was for 2 years.
Do you have a favorite grade to teach?
Not yet. I love the primary grades, K through 3rd grade. It's really exciting when children figure out the puzzle of reading and math. I love that awakening. When I had young children, I really enjoyed being with infants. I don't know if I would anymore because they're grown up, but yeah, so and I did really truly love teaching high school art too. That was fun.
What is it that you like about teaching that grade?
Well, I talked a little bit about just the discovery of the progress and development that happens, even just in kindergarten. They come in as from preschool, or maybe they didn't even have any education, and then they have this huge growth and they learn so much and they're so excited about it. So that is.
Do you have a favorite subject there to teach?
Well, I would always used to say art, but now I think I really like, I don't know if I have a favorite. I really love math, and I never would have said that before, but now I really love it. And I really like telling stories to children, and I really love when they make up stories. So I don't really have a favorite. I love being outside, so science stuff out there is great. I don't think I have a favorite. I love it all.
What are some of the reasons why you accepted the position as a one-on-one teacher in the Marlboro School?
Because I had spent 3 years driving the bookmobile, and I was ready to get back into a school and into a classroom. I really wanted to learn from some masters, and there's a lot of great teachers at Marlboro, and I really wanted to see how they did things and learn from them. So I thought if I took on a one-on-one position, I'd be able to observe that more. And plus my children want to go here, and so I really wanted to be just in their space.
In your teaching style, and in what ways have they influenced you?
I have had a couple mentors through the years. One that comes to mind still was a woman named Teresa, and she was from the Green Valley School, and she taught me to, if something didn't go right, to think of 3 ways I could have done it differently. And I always still go about my life like that. Like, we have all these expectations and we have these plans of teaching and what we want to do, and then it just, because of life, something happens. It doesn't work out that way, or you do something different. And so she really taught me to really reflect on that, and I think that's a huge piece of being a teacher and being part of education, because you're always learning, and then you have to reflect on what you learned and how to improve it, or what you would do or not do again. And so that was big. And she also taught me the power of observing students and how to really figure out what they need.
Could you please describe a typical day for you at the Marlboro School from when you get up until you go to bed at night?
Well, since my children go here, mornings are sort of a mad race of excitement, getting everything ready and out the door, and that's just part of family life, which is fun. And then when I get here, I kind of plan what I'm going to do with my student and get everything ready. Do a lot of data collection, so I have to get all that prepared. And then we try to follow the schedule of the classroom, and I try to be in here as much as possible. And when I leave school, sometimes my children have things they do after school, and sometimes we just go home, or we go outside, and thinking what else I do. I like to take my dog for a run after school, and then it's dinner time and homework and bed.
What do you feel are the more important parts of your teaching job?
Currently, you think? Well, for my student, it's to get them able to be in the classroom in the least restrictive environment as possible, and supporting them through their day.
What are some of the parts of your job are there parts of your job you dislike or find challenging?
No, there's not parts I dislike. I really love how much I'm learning about this student that I'm working with. I love working with the special ed team and everything I can learn from them. There's lots of supports at the school, so I never dislike a moment.
What are some of the ways the job has changed for you over the course of the year so far?
I guess it's been, think about that for a second. When you're supporting one student, your focus is really on them. So I kind of have always had my own classroom and my own group of students or children that I was focusing on everyone. So I think changing that mindset that you're not, that you're really supporting this one student and you're really helping other students in the class connect with them and you're their communication sometimes, you're their, they feel safe with you, they trust you. So that from the beginning of the year till now, that has to build, and it definitely has.
What are some of the ways students have changed over time?
Let's see. The way they dress, what they listen to. I don't know if I see a difference in how they act. I think a lot of students still have the same developmental approaches to things that I've seen. I guess I would say that I do notice more children needing support than I used to see when I first started teaching. And I see students really able to embrace technology, obviously more than when I first started school. And using it in every subject that wasn't a part of the classroom when I first started out. So I would say those are the biggest changes.
What are some of the things about the Marlboro School that you feel are unique?
There's so much. I appreciate that the teachers here really hold the students in a special way and help the students showcase who they are. I really love that it's a small school, and I love that kindergarten gets to go out before it's kindergarten. That's really special and unique. The food program is really special and unique. The garden, just the way that students treat each other here. Even with my student, my one-on-one, it just amazes me the acceptance and joy that everyone has with my student. I love seeing that, and I think it's really speaks to how the teachers and the community embrace diversity and embrace each other.
How would you describe the educational philosophy of MES?
Educational philosophy. Well, I think, I don't know how I would describe that. I think that there's important elements that Marlboro holds, like the art department and the, violin and Spanish and music. Those specials are really important to the school, and they don't want to let that go. I think that speaks to the philosophy because Marlboro wants to have well-rounded children. We have our sports. We have there's so many elements that connect to individual students, which is important. The field trips are huge, and I think that is a big piece of the educational philosophy, really hands-on education. And I think that was a concise answer, but those elements.
Are there any difficult parts about living in the same town in which you teach?
No, I love it. I love it because it's close and I know everyone and my children know everyone, and since I grew up moving all the time, there's this sense of place here and a sense of knowing that you only understand if you live in that space. We have South Pond, and there's all these special pieces of Marlboro that connect the community, and I think that makes it so great.
What authors, what kind of books do you like to read for pleasure?
Well, right now I'm reading a lot of young adult books. When I was driving the bookmobile, I read a lot of DCF books, just to be in touch with what children were reading so that I could recommend things. And what am I reading right now? I'm reading a book that my son got me at the book fair. I can't even remember the name of it, but it again is a young adult book. And yeah, I can't think of any authors.
Would you tell about some of your interests outside of your teaching work at school?
Some of my interests. Let's see. I love to be out in the garden when it's garden time. I really love where our house is and the landscape. There's a lot of trails in the back that I like to go running on, and the kids and I will trail run sometimes back there. I love going to the pond. What else do? We like to read. In the winter we like to go to the mountain and snowboard. I like to knit a lot. And what else do? I don't know. Just be a mom. I like being a mom.
Is there anything else about your life in Marlboro or your job that you'd like to mention, but I haven't asked you yet?
Oh, I forgot. I also like to play hockey. I do that too. I don't think so. I think you covered it. It was a great place, and it's really fun to be working here and seeing the students and friends of my children in a different way. I love watching all of you play sports, and I love seeing you in the hallway. I love how you interact with each other, and I just love the community of teachers and all the parents. It's just a great place.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're so very welcome.